Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to take you through my Fear Street collection, and it's all about the books today. I didn't even bother to put makeup on. I didn't even bother to put like an outfit or anything on. I'm in my pajamas basically. So today is all about the books. I was asked repeatedly here on the channel to go through everything that I have in each one of my collections and to do kind of like a library tour. So now that the new library is set up, all my shelves are built and all of the books are semi-organized, I'm gonna start doing those. So you guys saw a little bit of a library tour, just a mini one at the beginning of the video, and I am gonna do some videos dedicated to each one of my collections. So we'll do a Fear Street video, one for Point Horror, one for Christopher Pike, Babysitter's Club, and then other than that, I'll just take you through each one of the shelves one at a time, show you my Buffy collection and my Ghost Story collection and so on and so forth. So we'll be doing these videos over the next little while. So I hope you guys enjoy them. Like I said, they've come very highly requested. So I'm gonna zoom you guys in here on my Fear Street collection. Right now they are in alphabetical order. Eventually I do want to put them in publication order, but within alphabetical order I can find each book a lot easier right now to see what I have and what I need. So sometimes if I'm on a website and they have something for sale and I'm not quite sure if I already have it or whatever, I can just come down and check very quickly in alphabetical order. So I'm not going to go through any synopses of the books, just show you what I have, the condition that it's in, and probably just the little blurb that's on the front of the cover. So my Fear Street collection, pretty much for most of my collections, I've been accumulating over the past 2 years or so, kind of slowly at first. I wasn't, you know, really huge on vintage horror. I was kind of just buying horror in general, some old, some new, some used. But now I've been really concentrating on getting my vintage collection put together because there's nothing like vintage horror. There really isn't. And they just don't make the stories like that anymore. I'm very nostalgic for my childhood. I'm very nostalgic for the 90s and the 80s. So it kind of started probably about 1.5 years ago that I really started to concentrate more so on vintage books. I do still buy new horror, absolutely. I enjoy all types of horror, but my vintage collection really holds a special place in my heart. So like I said, I'm gonna zoom you guys in on the shelf here and we'll go through the Fear Street collection. All right, so here we go. Here is the Fear Street shelf. So something that I didn't mention in the introduction is that I have all of the regular Fear Street books, and the super chillers are all kind of shelved here, and then the companion series, so the Cheerleader series, the Cataluna Chronicles, 99 Fear Street, all of that are shelved at the end. So I'll be doing those at the end. And then something else that I didn't even think of, but I wanted to go through with you guys, is I do have some of the newer Fear Street books and some of the bind-ups. So I have a lot of my vintage copies are also included in newer bind-ups, which is great because then I don't have to ruin my vintage copies or cause any more damage than is already there. So that's awesome. So I will share those with you guys as well, and we'll just go through absolutely everything that I have, not just the vintage stuff. So jumping right in here, first up is All Night Party. Sorry, I'm trying not to get some glare on there. All Night Party. So this has on the front, "Party Till You Drop Dead." And we have some very Ken and Barbie looking characters on here. I just love the Fear Street covers, the old vintage Fear Street and the Christopher Pikes and stuff like that. The models are just fantastic that they use. And next up is one of the super chillers. We have Bad Moonlight. So I think this one is a werewolf themed book. I haven't read this one yet, and it says, "Nighttime is the right time for terror." Next up is The Best Friend. Sometimes friendship can be murder. And this cover specifically, I don't know why, but she just looks so fake in this cover. I'm not really sure why I hate it so much, but this is probably one of my least favorite covers out of the Fear Street series. And next up is The Boy Next Door. They Were Flirting Until Death. So very stalkerish looking cover here. Next up is another one of the super chillers. So this is Broken Hearts, and she's opened her locker and it says, you're dead. Valentine's Day can be a killer. So I love how a lot of these Fear Street books are also very thematic with all of the holidays. So if you just wanted to pick up a particular one during the holiday, it's very, very easy to do. Next up is The Cheater. Now she has to pay. So I guess this poor girl has probably cheated on her boyfriend and he turned into a psycho. Next up is College Weekend. She was just dying to visit her boyfriend. We have The Confession. Sometimes the truth can kill you. And even though this one has like a little bit of a bend in the cover up at the top, it's still very shiny and very new looking, so I really, really like this copy. Next up we have The Dare. Some girls will do anything for a guy, even kill. Next up is The Dead Lifeguard. So I was actually going to read this one last summer. Didn't get to it though. It says, no one can save her now. And this is another one of the super chillers. So a summertime super chiller here. Next up is Double Date. Two's company, but three can be murder. We have The Face. He had something to tell her from beyond the grave. So I haven't read this one before, but it's really intriguing to me. So it's about this girl who keeps drawing this guy and she has amnesia. So she was in an accident and he's trying to tell her something through her drawings. So that's really cool. Fortunately, there's a library stamp at the top of this book, but this is one of the more rare ones. I've only ever seen it the one time and I bought it right away. So really super happy to have that one. We have Final Grade. Will Lily get an A in murder? So that looks like a terrifying cover. And this one is in really good condition as well. It looks very, very new. There's absolutely no creases in the spine, which I love because I think this was on a shelf for a really long time and was probably never ever read. Next up is The Fire Game. When you're playing with fire, someone is bound to get burned. Super chiller. I think this is probably one of the most romance novel looking covers out of all of the series. So this one says, their first kiss could be her last. So this one obviously is a vampire novel, but it looks very Harlequin romance to me. And next we have the sequel to that one, very much the same thing, and it says, it's the kiss of death. So that's Goodnight Kiss 2, also a super chiller. Next is Haunted. So I actually read this book last summer in fact. I just randomly picked it up. It sounded good to me, so it was okay. Not one of my favorite Fear Streets, but it was okay. So it says, there's a prowler in Melissa's room, but is he dead or alive? So next up is another summertime super chiller. So this is High Tide. A lifeguard's job can be murder. So another very summery looking one there. And then we have Into the Dark, See No Evil. Sorry about the glare here, guys. I'm trying to put these on angle so you can see the cover without all of the glare. And this one is in fantastic condition. It looks almost immaculate. There's just a little tiny bit of roughness around the edges, but I was really, really pleased with how this one looked. Next up we have Lights Out. It All Happens in the Dark. So next up, I really like the cover on this one. It's really spooky with the ghostly apparition in the background. So this is The Mind Reader. Seeing Too Much is Murder. And next up we have Missing. So this is the fourth one in the collection. I just finished this one last month. I enjoyed it. I liked the Overnight a lot better. And this is one of the ones in the Fear Street, the beginning bind up. So I really enjoyed it. Didn't enjoy it as much as the Overnight, but it definitely, the series is starting to feel like Fear Street now. So it says, first their parents disappeared, then the real terror began. And next up, another super chiller. So this is a holiday super chiller. The New Year's Party. When midnight strikes, they all die. Next up, we have Night Games. Nighttime is the right time for trouble. So just to let you guys know, I have gotten the majority of my Fear Street books off of several Etsy shops, Spooky Sellables being one of them. I talk about her frequently on the channel, so I'll have her shop link down below, as well as another one that's called 90s Finds with Lauren. I've gotten a couple of books from her. And the rest of my Fear Street collection I've amassed through used bookstores and eBay. Trusty old eBay. Just had to move you guys over a little bit there. Now this is one that I read last summer as well, One Evil Summer. So I was really in a summertime slasher, very campy horror mood last year, and I really did like this one. This was absolutely enjoyable. And it says, Chrissy is perfect, perfectly evil. And here we go. Here is my vintage copy of The Overnight. So I just recently spoke about this book in my May wrap-up, and this definitely is my favorite Fear Street so far that I've reread in the past couple of years. I really enjoyed this one. It had all of the feels, and it says, they shared her terrible secret, but could they get away with murder? And this one has the kids going over to Fear Island for a camp out, and things just go terribly wrong, of course. Keeping with the summer themes here, we have Party Summer. So this is another super chiller, and it says there's no vacation from the terrors of Fear Street. So that's one thing that I love about 80s and 90s series, YA series, is they always do these specials for summertime and for the holidays. Same thing with the Babysitters Club. I used to love when the super specials came out for Babysitters Club. I read them every single summer, guaranteed. And next up we have The Perfect Date. This copy specifically is not in great condition. There is a great big crease down the front of the book. So I'm going to hang on to this one for now, but if I come across a better copy, I'll probably grab it. And it says Dream Date or Nightmare. And just an interesting fact, this was R.L. Stine's son and his girlfriend at the time who are on the cover here doing the modeling. And she just looks 100% 90s. Absolutely 100% 90s. And next up we have The Rich Girl, Would You Kill to Be Rich? And this copy is not in fantastic condition either. But with all of my copies, I was just happy to get something for now because the price on these is definitely going up, especially with the release of the movies last year. But in my travels, if I can find better copies out there, specifically first printings, then I will definitely be replacing it. Next up we have Secret Admirer, Someone Loves Her to Death. And there's a little bit of a crease on the bottom of the front cover of this one, but other than that, it's still in pretty good condition. Next up, we have The Secret Bedroom, Don't Open That Door. So I love the kind of neon green over on the right-hand side there with the skeleton hand. That's probably one of my favorite covers. I don't even know why. There's not a whole lot going on here, but I just love the whole idea of it. So excited to get to this one. Next up we have some holiday horror. So we have the super chiller called Silent Night. Happy holidays, you're dead. A lot of these little blurbs on the front of the books, they're just so cheesy and I absolutely love it. I am here for all of it. So next up is the second part to that story. So we have super chiller, Silent Night 2, Jingle Bells, Santa Kills. So from what I hear, the Silent Night number 1 and number 2 are some of the most favorite of all of the Fear Street. Pretty much everyone that I've heard from that's read them has said that they enjoyed them. So excited to get to these ones as well once the time comes around, because I am reading all of these in publication order. So next up, not holiday horror, but definitely winter themed. So we have Ski Weekend, It was a perfect setting for murder. And this one, I believe, happens like in a cabin or a cottage kind of off in the woods. So very much isolation in the wintertime, which is a theme that I really, really like. So excited for this one as well. Next up, we've got the stepsister. And let me tell you, the girl that her reflection is in the mirror, she definitely looks a little psychotic. So it says, when she moved into Emily's room, the terror began. And the second part to that one is the stepsister 2, and it simply says, she's back. So it's really interesting though that the models on this one, on the second part, are completely different from what's on the first part. Next up we have Sunburn. So we're back to the summertime horror, and it says the perfect tan or the perfect murder. So I think R.L. Stine really had something that he loved about, you know, summertime beachy horror, but lifeguards specifically, because there's a few that he's written even outside of the Fear Street series that have to do with lifeguards. Next up, so this is number 2 in the series, and I just finished reading this one in May as well. Really enjoyed it. So it wasn't until we moved on to this book that it started to feel like Fear Street a little bit more. Book number 1 didn't feel that way as much, but I did enjoy this one. And it says, it was just another party until the threats began. Here we've got a very Freaky Friday looking book. So this is Switched. A mind is a terrible thing to lose. So really intrigued by this one, and this is another one that I really love the cover. I believe on this one, this is one of R.L. Stine's favorite covers. I believe I read or saw that one somewhere, so that's pretty cool, and I love this cover as well. Next up we have the Thrill Club, and I really enjoy, you know, I think there's something about when you have people that have apparitions that are kind of behind them or whatever, I find extra spooky. And it says they're dying to join the Thrill Club. So we have very 90s looking models here again, so absolutely love that. Next up we have Truth or Dare, so back to our wintertime horror, and it says it started as a game and ended in death. So next up we have What Holly Heard, and it says it was too shocking to tell. So again, I love the cover on this one because it's very immaculate. It looks really, really good. And you can't pick it up on camera really, but there is quite a bit of shine still on this cover. And a little bit of wear and tear on the spine, but the spine is not creased. So love that. So skipping over a little bit here, we've got Wrong number 2, Call Waiting to Kill. So I did have a copy of The Wrong Number, but it was a reprint. It was a recent reprint and didn't have the original cover or anything. And so I'm just waiting to get a vintage copy of the original Wrong Number book, but we do have number 2. So out of the original series, that's all I have. So now we're going to move on to the Offshoot series. So the first one, we have the Cataluna Chronicles, The Deadly Fire. Dying in this car is no accident. So we have a haunted car kind of going on, it sounds like. Haven't read any of these ones yet. So first up we have the Cataluna Chronicles. So we have The Deadly Fire. Dying in this car is no accident. So very much sounds like we have a haunted car going on here, kind of like Stephen King's Christine. And then the Cataluna Chronicles, The Dark Secret. Don't tell a living soul or a dead one. So we've got some secrets going on here. And then into the Cheerleaders series. So we have Cheerleaders, The First Evil, and I love the cover on this one, especially with the skull in her pom-pom and just like the old-fashioned cheerleaders outfits with the sweaters, which is what it looked like back when I was going to school. So I love the covers on the Cheerleader series. So it says, when the cheers turn to screams. So that's the first one. We've got Cheerleaders, The Second Evil, Cheers from the Grave, Cheerleaders, the New Evil, Season's Greetings, the Evil is Back. So this is a cheerleaders book with a holiday twist on there, and it is a super chiller. So this one is a little bit different. It has different font up on the top there. And this is Cheerleaders, the Evil Lives. And it says, before the cheerleaders, the evil lived in Sarah Fear. So we've got Sarah Fear wrapped into that one. And then next up is Fear Park. So we have the first Scream, Are We Having Fun Yet? So this is like a carnival themed horror. Fear Park number 2, The Loudest Scream, Buy a Ticket to Terror. And then we have Fear Park number 3, The Last Scream. It's Closing Time for Deirdre. So as far as I know, there's only 3 of those in the Fear Park series. And then moving on to the Fear Street Saga. So we have number 1, The Betrayal. We have number 2, The Secret. And number 3, The Burning. So this is kind of a prequel to the Fear Street series. Sorry about that, my dog was going absolutely nuts. So, not to be confused with Fear Street Sagas. So this is number 1, A New Fear, Evil Was His Birthright. Jumping over to number 4, The Sign of Fear. So this is an ex-library copy. Still have to work on getting those stickers off. It says, an ancient evil could destroy them. And this one, as you can see, has a big crease up the cover, but just happy to have it. We have number 5, The Hidden Evil. At last, the story could be told. And again, we have a nice crease in the cover, almost in the exact same spot. And then we have number 10, The Awakening Evil. Before the cheerleaders, the evil lived in Sarah Fear. So again, this is kind of a companion book to one of the cheerleaders books. So it'll be interesting to see how that story kind of arcs between the 2 of them. And then right over on the end here, we have some of the 99 Fear Street books. So we have the first horror, and this one I was so disappointed with because it is pretty severely water damaged. So I was happy to get it just to have it for the collection, but definitely will need a new copy of that one. And then we have the second horror, and this one is in fantastic condition. I love the condition of this book. It looks great. And I love the little skull dude over here on the side. So these ones don't have little blurbs on the front. And then we have the third horror in the 99 Fear Street series. So this is also an ex-library copy. Not in fantastic condition, but just happy to have it for right now. I can keep it as a reading copy and then look for a better copy once I can find one. So that was all of the vintage Fear Street that I have. So I just wanted to show you guys the rest of the bind-ups and everything that I have as well. So we have the beginning. So this is the first 4 Fear Street books. So we have The New Girl, The Surprise Party, The Overnight, and Missing. And I just finished reading all 4 of these. Really enjoyed them. I have to say though, Fear Street number 1 really doesn't feel like Fear Street all of that much. It wasn't my favorite, but the other ones were definitely a lot better. But I have to say, I love the cover on this book with the trees that are kind of mixing in with the fog here to make a very skeletal looking skull here, and the girl in the front. So I love the cover on this book with the pinks and purples, and you can get this one on Amazon for fairly cheap. So if you're looking to start your own Fear Street reread, I would highly suggest picking this one up. Another one of the bind-ups we have is a bind-up of 2 of the super thrillers. So this is Secrets, and it's a bind-up of The Lost Girl and Can You Keep a Secret. So once I get to those ones, I'll have another bind-up that I can use to do my reread. And then we have another bind-up here. That's 2 of the super thrillers in one. So we have Party Games and Don't Stay Up Late. And of course, I absolutely hate this, and this is not a sticker, it's printed right into the book. So it's talking about the Netflix Fear Street movies that came out last summer. And I have no problem with them. I just really hate when they put the tie-ins on the cover like that. It's just not my thing. And then this is a cover that I absolutely love as well. So this is a bind up of the Fear Street sagas, and it's called Betrayal, and it has these really creepy paper dolls on the front that are splattered with blood. So really happy to get that as well, because some of my vintage copies are not in great condition. So really happy to have these to help me along with my reread. And then we have a couple of the Return to Fear Street novels. So these are new ones. So this is, I really enjoy the cover on this one as well. So this is You May Now Kill the Bride, and we have The Wrong Girl. So I just picked these up off of Book Outlet. I'm not really sure how they're going to wrap in with the vintage ones. I haven't read through the first series yet, so it's going to be a while before I get to these, but I have them here on the shelves for whenever I'm ready. And then the last one, this is Give Me a Kill, and it just says a Fear Street novel. At Shadyside High, cheerleading can be a scream. So we have kind of an updated looking cheerleader here. Not a huge fan of the new covers, but they're fine, I guess. But cheerleading is definitely one of those things in Fear Street, in Shadyside, that doesn't go well. So this is another one that probably be a fair while before I get to it, but you know, we'll have to see how these newer ones go. So there you guys go. That is my entire Fear Street collection. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope it was relaxing for you to watch and to see all of the Fear Street that I've accumulated so far. I do have a fair amount of the Fear Street collection, but I've got a long way to go. So hopefully within the next couple of years, I can get the entire collection in first printings. So I have a long way to go, but it's something to look forward to. So if you enjoyed the video, guys, make sure to give me a thumbs up. Leave me a question or a comment down below, because you know I love chatting with you guys. But until next time, stay spooky, everybody. Bye.